This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, we'll be recording now. So, guys, welcome, guys, to this demo. Okay, so let me introduce myself. My name is Roshan. I have overall 15 years experience in IT. Predominantly started my career as a Java developer, and then I moved into operations side. When I say operations side, into the DevOps and the reliability SRE side. I'm working in there from last 7 to 8 years. Uh, I started working on the cloud technology back in 2015, 14 around when the cloud was getting started. And Yes, and I have been into various automation tools using Ansible, Terraform, right? And you have the orchestration engine like Kubernetes, Docker, and mostly my expertise lies in the automation using the tools like cell scripting, the languages, the automation that we use the languages to do the automation using cell scripting and the Python using Java. So that's what the automation skill sets. And you'd understand why those skill sets are important when you all understand this journey on the operations side, on the reliability part, where we have the development and the operations. So these skill sets become very important. Okay. So you would understand today in much greater detail. Okay. So that's about me. Okay. So uh, this is going to be the agenda of this session. We're going to start with a question. Okay, uh, we'll start with a question, and then we'll look into something called software development and deployment evolution. How softwares were developed and deployed. Okay, and then we look into the course syllabus, the SRE part, right? And you can ask any questions and any details we can share. Right. So that's the plan. Okay. So before I get started, I would like to know about my audience. Uh, is like since you have joined this particular demo, right? So I hope you would be looking something on the SRE part or on the cloud performance engineering part, how we go about it. Can somebody can I understand your background and what you are looking for? Like, just you understand on your expectations. Can some of you unmute and help me understand, guys? That would be great.
Hi Roshan, this is Rohit.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Rohit.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am your audible.
So,
Perfectly fine.
so I'm currently working as a performance tester. So looking
Okay.
forward to gain the knowledge and move into SRE. But I don't have any performance engineering experience. I have
Understood.
just a testing kind of experience, like scripting and understanding the results, analysis, making the reports. This is my day-to-day activities. But I wanted to upskill and move a career path towards the something that industry looking for, like the SRE one. So I have a couple of questions. You want me to post it on
Yeah.
chat?
Yeah, yeah, please. You can. So good to know, Rohit, about you, first of all. So, see, there is a,
Thank you.
so you are into troubleshooting, I would say. So you may be doing some performance testing using some tools like LoadRunner, Gatling, or Jmeter, Locust. So you
Yes.
may be some using some tools, but you have this troubleshooting mindset. That is more important. One of the important prerequisite to become an SRE, that you are ready to troubleshoot any issues. And for the performance engineer, what is the difference here? That you are not bothered, or you're not you're very much uh, in line towards exploring a new technologies. Let's say tomorrow, if you have to work on some different performance testing tool or any different, let's say, database. Let's say today you are working on Oracle. If tomorrow you have to work on Mongo database, so do you have the interest to learn that? Okay, to pursue that path. Or let's say tomorrow, if you join a company and they're using Cassandra, so are you interested in learning how do we do performance tuning in Cassandra database? What is Cassandra database, right? So are you interested in that part? Same thing for Mongo database, same thing for other databases. So that's what most important. When I say performance engineers are the best people, or testers are the best one to for this SRE journey, because this is what we look for, the interest to learn new technologies. Because as a performance tester engineer, We should know everything. Then only we can troubleshoot it, right? So that's what more important. I hope you are in line, Rohit, right? That you have this mindset of learning new technologies. Would that be a right statement?
Yes, yes, I can say that because I worked on different tools and different projects. We are a service-based company, so we provide service for different domains of clients. So it's a project-to-project learning thing. Yeah, you're right.
Good, good. That's most important thing. Okay, good. How about
I
others? Yeah.
I have posted the questions in chat. When you get a time, you can answer them, please.
Sure, we will look into that question. So, is the right time and skills to Sari piece self-paced videos enough to gain knowledge? Okay, my weakness is programming. I can understand the logic, but okay, that's fine. We'll take up this up. Okay, so you'll understand what it is. Okay, good. Anybody else would like to say before we get started? Anybody, feel free to share anything or highlight anything that you're looking for from this course. Okay, I assume
One
most of.
Deepa here.
Yes, Deepa, go ahead.
I'm into operations domain and I have around 4 to 5 years of experience in operations, but I'm not working anything in performance testing. So if I want to upgrade to SRE, will this course be sufficient to get into that role?
Absolutely, absolutely. So this course is intended for a lot of people, those who are into automation, those who are into performance testing, those who are into operations. And because SRE is a big domain, that's what we need to understand. It's a very, very vast domain. And you can, in SRE engineers can be from any other domain, like could be they are from operations, they could be from automation, they could be from performance. And this is what we're trying to bridge this gap. And that's why this course, okay. And you will understand this when we go along this particular course, and I will highlight what is there in the course, right? When we'll outline this, you would understand Deepa, and you would agree with me that that it's going to be a good fit for you.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. So I think any last questions, concerns? Anybody would like to say anything before we get started? Feel free. Okay. I'm going to wait for another 2 minutes. Okay. Okay. Looks good. Okay. Sure. Okay, guys. So let's get started. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question. Okay, and I would like everybody to answer that question. Okay. So let's say I'm going to replace this word. Performance engineers have mentioned this in the slide, but let's say anybody today, anybody working in IT. Let's say I would put this way: is anybody expected to know this? Anybody working in IT expected to know this? What is your take? DevOps, microservices, containers, and the cloud. What do you guys think about it? I would like to know your opinion. These about these three things. You could be from you could be a developer, you could be from operations, you could be an automation engineer, you could be from performance tester engineering. I would like to know, do you think that we should know all of these things as per the current market trend and where the IT industry is going? So I'm going to look into the chat now. Please help me understand. I'm waiting for your responses. You can unmute yourself. You feel free, okay, the way you want, but please answer.
Yes, hey, hi, Roshan, this is Saurabh. Yeah, I believe that to remain to up to the market, DevOps knowledge is very important to start with.
So Saurav agrees. How about Rohit? Rohit also wanted to speak. Rohit, you also agree?
Uh,
Yes, we might
Hello.
have to because even if we are in different fields, someday we're gonna cross this path because these tools will come into the picture. We have to learn.
Right. These are not
That's
tools,
my
Can
by the way.
opinion.
These are
you
not
hear
not
me?
tools, by the way. I'll come to that. What is that? It's a
Yes.
phase that we are in. Okay. Yes, Rohit, go ahead. It's a technology that we are in right now. Okay, I'm gonna make this very simple. Okay, I'm gonna make this very simple by putting this. Okay, so look at this particular software development and deployment evolution, how the software was developed and deployed over the years. That's the journey. The what you see in
I
your
think
screen right.
whatever the technology.
Yes, somebody wanted to speak something. Okay, okay, guys, am I audible? Just fine. Can you guys confirm?
Yes, person.
Okay, I think somebody else. Okay, thank you. Look at this. So this is a journey we are here. Okay, if you look at this particular development and deployment evolution. So if you remember, or if you just recall when you joined your IT, we all started with this waterfall model, right? In 1980s, it's all started with the waterfall, and now we have developed into, we know that the way we were developing the waterfall, it was not that efficient, right? We moved to agile because we had a lot of issues in the waterfall, so we moved to agile, and now we are into DevOps path. So if you look at this around 2010, in the beginning, we started with the DevOps journey, and we are continuing. So if I have to just give you a brief about this particular development process. So in the waterfall, the problem was that we developed all the software at once, and then we started to test. And it was very likely that we failed at the end because we overlooked the intermediate steps. We developed everything at once, and then we started to test, and it was very not possible to go back in case of any architectural flaws or anything, right? So that was the waterfall. Then we understood the problem of the waterfall, and we moved into agile, so where we divided the software development into different phases. Okay, so it's not like we developed everything at all at once, so we divided the development into phases. We call it sprint 1, sprint 2, right? Look at, I'll just put that. So this is the sprint 1, this is the sprint 2, sprint 3, sprint 4. And when we took care of all the SDLC life cycle. So when I say SDLC, so the requirement gathering phase, the planning phase, the designing phase, the coding phase, and all the testing phase, the functional testing, performance testing, security testing, and then deployment. So that's the SDLC I'm talking about. So SDLC remains the same. So here in all the phases, I'd applied a SDLC, and we took the feedback of the customer as well. So we were very much in line of the customer expectations, and at the end product that we got was very much expected. So it was not a big difference what customer was expecting and what we delivered. What we delivered, it was not a great, not a big difference, right? So agile. Now there was, why then DevOps? In agile, a lot of activities was done manually. A lot of activities, a lot of activities. I say a lot of activities. So let's say the developer has uploaded the code, let's say done with the writing the code. What is the end goal, guys? I would like to know, when the code is ready, what is the end goal? Can anybody highlight that? When the code is ready, what is the end goal? Can anybody highlight that?
To meet the business requirements.
No, no, when the code is ready, you would like to deploy the code to the production.
Deploy.
That's what you would like, correct? That's what. So you would like to deploy that particular code to the production. See, now business requirement is all good, or that's all been taken care. When I have in the designing phase only, that's been taken care, right? Now when I have when I have the code, the next thing I want is to deploy my code to the production. But we do all those process. We do functional testing. We build the code manually. We do functional testing. We do performance testing. We do security testing. We do UAT testing. This process takes a lot of time when done manually. So there is a requirement. How, why can't we automate this process, right? As soon as the developer updates the code, writes the code, completes the code, I should have automated jobs to build the code, to test the code, functional test, performance test, security test. Why can't we automate this entire process so that the release velocity, the time it takes to deploy my code to production reduces, right? Reduced. So that's what DevOps does. So DevOps is very much similar to agile, but with automation mindset, so that we can speed up the release velocity, right? That's what DevOps does. DevOps is nothing something very different than agile. No, the process remains the same, but we are bringing automation. So whenever the word DevOps come, you need to have this automation mindset, right? And you need to come out of this mindset that, right, that you can live without programming knowledge. Okay, it's not that way. Okay, uh, you can manage without automation for 4 to 5 years in your organization, but along the way when you progress, right, automation becomes the key. People will value you the way you would like, you're thinking about automation. Trust me on this. Okay, you can take my word. That's how industry, the ecosystem will look at you, the company will look at you, how much good this guy is at the automation, particularly on the SRE and DevOps part. See, in the performance testing also, you automate basically the script flow, right? We do so many things, right? It's not like we don't do automation. We write, we understand the requirement of the script. We put a lot of conditional statement, the looping statement. We pass from, we take the variable from this, pass it to some other request. We do so many things. We do correlations. We do so automation. We are doing. Performance engineers are also doing automation, in a way. But we need to think about the mundane tasks, and that's what DevOps is all about. The automation mindset. Whenever you think the opportunity to automate something, whenever you are doing something which is taking longer and you are doing repetitive, always have that mindset to automate it. Okay, that's how. Yeah, that's fine, you may not know how to do it, but have that mindset and think about it. Which programming language would be good? Is it cell scripting? Can I manage? If you're working on Linux, let's say, if I give you a file, let's say, and if I ask you to give me, let's say you see a file with comma separation. I'm just giving you one simple example, comma separated file, and I ask you, give me the third column, right? So if you are, let's say you are not about Linux, so what you would do, you go take the file, go to the Windows, and do a delimiter option, and you try to do that, right? Those options. But if you're a Linux guy, you would do awk command, and it's done, right? So it's all about how much exposure you have in Linux, how much exposure you have with other programming languages like Python. What are different things that we can do? It's, see, automation, writing code is simple. Trust me, writing code is simple. Nowadays, we have a lot of options writing the code. We have Chat GPT. You just mention that what you need, you have the code with you. But understanding for this particular requirement, what is important, right? What is required? Or can I get which particular tool or language can do this particular task better, right? That's automation mindset. Trust me, writing the code, once you have understood the problem, that you're supposed to do this, and you know that this cell scripting or the Python scripting or any other programming language, or any other automation tool like Ansible or Python, Ansible or Terraform can do this particular task better, half of the problem is solved. Trust me. So that mindset is important. Okay, so given this problem, okay, so what we can do? Can we use this language or this particular tool? That's required. Okay, and that's what we learn along this journey. Okay, so that's about the DevOps. So DevOps brings automation into picture, and it's tried to automate the SDLC. Okay, so whatever we did in Agile, we're trying to automate in DevOps. That's all about DevOps. Now, on the architecture, application architecture, we were developing monolithic back then. So when I say monolithic applications, consider an old application where all the business logic is deployed as a single jar file. Let's say you have only one application server. Like, I hope most of you or most of us are working, or have worked in monolithic applications. We have only one jar file or a war file that we deploy. We have only one application server, and we deploy that if it's a Java application, and we have all the applications up and running. So when you deploy all the business logic, all the different modules together, right? That's monolithic applications. Now the entire world is towards microservices. because we understand the power of microservices, how what it does on the reliability, on the availability. Now tell me one thing. I'll ask you this question. I'll take this way. You know this Swiggy or Uber application, right? They have a functionality called notifications, right? Whenever you order your food or book a cab, you get a notification that your food has been ordered, or the cab has been booked, right? If I tell you, if notification is not working, some problem with this notification module, you would not be able to book your cab or you'd not be able to order your food. Would you like this? Would you buy this statement? Or you'd ask question, what ridiculous application is this? What that module has to do with this functionality, this module, core module, correct? Would you ask this question? Yes or no,
Yes.
guys? Right? So that's
Yes,
microservices.
yes,
Microservices segregates that. So in the monolithic world, even one module is having some issues, it can impact other modules also. And that's what microservice, all the recent applications that we see here, Uber, Swiggy, Ola, everything is microservices based. Every application is microservices based. If one module is not working, doesn't matter, we have other modules working, right? It's not going to impact the, it will not create a downtime for me, right? That's microservices. Okay, we will understand in detail along this course. Okay, that's about the microservices. Now we have got physical server, right, on this deployment phase. So earlier we have this physical server, big physical server, where we used to deploy everything on the big physical server. Back then there was no concept of VMs. Back then, no concept of VMs, right? It was all physical servers that we had. We used to waste a lot of resources. A lot of resources we used to waste there. Consider this physical server as a multiple cores and multiple GBs. Consider 100 cores and 500, 400 GB RAM. And we used to install a tiny little application. That's all. Deploy tiny little application. That's all. Wastage of resources. Then there come the world. Then a revolution came around mid in 90s. A revolution came. You know, what was that revolution, guys? Do you know the word virtualization? VMs, the VMs came because of virtualization. What we did, we installed a virtualization software like hypervisor, or there are VMware, we have VirtualBox or Hyper-V, these kind of softwares on the physical server. We deployed some sort of virtualized software on this physical server and we created VMs, right? You guys must be working on the VMs. VM, you call, right? Give me a VM, give me a virtual machine. It's only possible because you have installed the virtualization, you have done the virtualization on the physical server. That's why you're able to create VMs. Over the years, that we also found that we are not able to utilize the resources of a VM more than 20 or 30, 40%. That's all. We are again wasting. We have the scope of better utilization of the resources. See, resource utilization directly impacts the cost. Directly impacts the cost. If if you can save on the resource, you will save on the cost. That's how it is. Okay, because if you look at any architecture, right, any monthly cloud bill, let's say if anybody has running application on the cloud, and if you look at their monthly bill, 95% of the bill goes for the VMs. And if you can optimize the VM, everybody in the organization would appreciate you. And that's what performance engineers are highly valued, because nowadays an SRE engineer, the cost optimization has become a very important word. We call it FinOps, right? We call it DevOps. We have called FinOps now, finance operations. Because if you can look into, like, I'll give you one example. We run as a performance tester, like performance engineers run performance test. You can, or everybody can see the utilization, right? Let's say not about the performance engineers. Everybody can look into the utilization, right? If you have a monitoring panel, all the graphs panels, everybody can look into the CPU, memory, disk, threads, process. Like we can see these metrics. From these metrics, we can understand whether the servers are underutilized or overutilized. Can we take a call or not, guys? Tell me. Yes or no? Would
Yes.
you agree? And we can save on the resource. Let's say if I have got 10 servers for a component, and let's say we see 10% CPU utilization. Now, given that you're using 10 servers, 16 core each, let's say 16 core each. So you are using totally 160 cores. Given that 10 servers, your CPU utilization is 10%. Now you can easily save 40% of the cost here. That's called cost saving, right? That's because the VMs are not utilized properly, right? And we can do the cost saving. And if you can do that in the cloud world, everybody in the organization would like this, right? You how much ever you do performance run, you highlight the issues, but the FinOps always takes the priority, right? Because you're saving the direct dollars, that you're cutting down the dollars from the monthly bill that company is paying to AWS, Azure, or GCP. Everybody would like that. As a performance engineer, or any as an operation engineer, if you have the visibility on the metrics, you can suggest this, right? No, that's separate part I was talking about. No, these VMs came around 90s, and it revolutionized the way we were using the VMs, right? It optimized the resource utilization. But again, 2015, again one revolution came. I'm not sure how many of you are aware. Containerization, containers on the same VM. Let's say I'm gonna tell you this. Let's say if you have a three VM. Let's say you're running a three-tier application: web server, app server, database server, and you require three VMs to run this three-tier application. What if I tell you you require only one VM and you can run three containers in that? Would you like that? Now I'm gonna give again ask I'm gonna repeat that. So you require three VMs to run three-tier application. Web server, consider this as the web server. This guy is the web server, this guy is the app server, this guy is the database server. Just imagine this. Three VMs you require. Now if I tell you you require only one VM now, and if and you can run three containers in that. One container for the web server, another container for the app server, and the third container for the database server. Would you like this?
Yes.
Or
Yes,
obviously,
sir.
right? You're saving the resources. You're making sure that the VMs are fully utilized. And if you require more resources, more cores, you can get another VM. Eventually, you would be able to save one VM for sure, because you're making sure the VMs are fully utilized. And then only you're going with the second VM. Containers are like a process. So we have this containers world. Okay. So this is what the phase has been, the our history, the the evolution, right? Physical server, VMs, and we are in the world of containerization now. Same thing. We were using data center back then, right? If you have got a business idea earlier, like how Jeff Bezos does, he got this idea of Amazon.com. He has to set up one data center, right? But nowadays, if you get some business idea, it's not like setting up a data center, right? Because setting up a data center is a huge task. Okay, it's a huge amount that you need to put in, billions of multiple billions of dollars, because you need to purchase the land, uh, make the infrastructure, purchase all the servers. You can do need to do power backups, multiple power. It's a huge investment. Not everybody can afford this. But right now we are in the world of cloud. In the cloud, it's it's about the just you can get the cloud. You can just use the VMs and you can pay the monthly amount, right? How we pay the monthly rent. Same way we can use the resources in a cloud, and we can pay the monthly bill like a monthly bill, right? So that's how the cloud. And that's why I asked this question. DevOps, microservices, and containers and cloud. Look at this. We are in this phase. So it's not about just the performance engineers, guys. It's about anybody working into operations, anybody working into DevOps, operations side, for everybody in IT, I would say. Even the developers, unless the developers do not know how a microservice or containers work, they would not be able to develop the application quite that correct. So that's why these four things that we mentioned, right? That's the backbone of our course. That's we have come up with. So we have put everything in the course around this and automation, right? That's the most important part, right? Because we can talk about the cloud. So in the course we have AWS. The in the SRE course that we have taken up AWS as part of the cloud. So, and once you know one cloud, it's easy to learn Azure or GCP, right? Because I have worked on multiple, all the cloud service provider, I'm certified there. So you start with one, and that's how you learn others, right? It's because you can do a mapping. It's same as like if you know a tool, performance testing tool, it's easy for you to learn other tool. So you know the concepts, correlation, parameterization, the looping. The way you do it is would be different, right? The UI would be different, but eventually you can figure that out. It's not that a difficult task. Same way, same thing. So we have this AWS in the course. We are learning containers. We are learning about Dockers, Kubernetes. How do we create containers? How do we orchestrate the containers? So using Dockers and Kubernetes, we are talking about that in the course. We are learning about the microservices. What are microservices, first of all? And where should we deploy these microservices? So we have taken everything. We are talking about the DevOps. We are talking about so many tools. We're talking about Terraform. We're talking about Ansible. We're talking about the entire DevOps. What do we mean by DevOps, right? So we have taken everything into this course. As part of this journey, because that's where we are, right? Okay. So before I deep dive into the course, any questions for me? I'm going to take a break, pause for you to ask me any question. Please feel free, guys.
So SRE is related to only the server level optimization. We don't touch any code.
When you, okay, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. See, when you say code, you don't touch the code. It again depends on the scope of your organization. SRE engineers, if you look at a DevOps, so DevOps is a coin from two words, development and operations. Basically, if you look at the SRE, the definition of SRE comes from that the same guy is doing the development and the same guy has been asked to do the operations work. That's the core definition of SRE, because SRE is the word originating from the Google, and they were team in the Google, that the same team developed the application and the same team did the operations part. Okay, and that's where this word is coming. But if you join an organization, just because SRE is the vast, right? And even the organization do not want, like all the organizations do not want to have so much of dependency on one guy, right? So you may have a different team of the development and the operations, right? So it all depends on the scope of the team, the company that you are working on. But if you look at the SRE definition, it means to know, you need to know the development and operations both. It's the both guys, right? And that's why SRE is so much demanding, because SRE is a journey, right? It's not just I'm SRE engineer. You cannot say that because it's so much of things in there. You need to know a lot of things, right? So it's a journey. So if your organization where you're employed, they are exposing the code, because as an SRE engineer, performance engineers, we supposed to tweak the code, but a lot of performance engineers are never touching the code. But if you ask the code definition of a performance engineers are basically for the code optimization. I hope you would agree with me, right? Performance engineers is mostly about the code optimization. But if you look at around in India, most of the company, I would say 90% of the company, we are mostly doing the performance testing, publishing the results, doing some basic analysis, right? That's what we are doing. But we need to deep dive. We need to. There are 20% organization. Uh, they are deep dive. They are looking into the, if you have any issues, looking into the heap term, thread term, to understand what is the issue. And there are top 5% of performance engineers. They're helping the developers write efficient code so that the performance can be improved. So there are so many varieties of options. It all depends on your skill set. It all depends on your skill set. It's not like uh, scope is immense. Okay, to answer your question, SRE scope is immense, and it has a very vast domain. It all depends on the company and your interest and your skill sets. I hope I answered the question. Uh,
Yes, yes. But only one thing is that we are not, we need to write any automation code to check all this process, or we need to do it from a DevOps level.
See, automation, when I say, right, see, automation could have multiple types. Understand this. See, I'll tell you, what do we mean by automation? You need to understand this. When I say automation, I'll give you one example. Their infrastructure. So, like Karthik, let's say I'm going to ask you this question. In the company that you work on, how many servers you have in production? Do you know? I'm going to ask you a question, then I'm going to make you understand in a different way. How many servers you have in your production? Do you know?
Yeah, we have 8 servers.
Only eight servers in
To
production.
yeah, for our
Total.
application.
Yeah, for, yeah, maybe it's a very not a like big application, right? But think about, I'll tell you, let's think about company like bank, ICICI, HDFC. How many servers do you think they would have? Think about it. Just
Thousands of servers.
thousands of servers. So now tell me one thing: is it possible to deploy those thousand servers manually, or you would like to do some automate something? Because you are not just deploying, you are not provisioning thousand servers, but you are also installing the software. Do you think that work can be done manually,
No, no, it will
or
take a
people?
lot of time.
Yes. So that's automation mindset. That's what I'm talking about. Let's say you have got thousand
Oh,
servers, and you, okay, yeah, Karthik, go ahead.
uh, so we are saving the time in the deployment point of view. We are using different technology techniques to do it faster way, and we are using this space of the virtual machine, or what are the spaces there effectively in this part, right? Am I correct?
Yeah. Can you repeat that? You were breaking up, Karthik. Can you repeat that?
So what I am telling means, when we are considering that large number of servers, we are using the faster deployment, automatic deployment process, as well as
Correct.
we are using the space of the servers efficiently to make
Correct.
use of these new SREs. Is that true?
Absolutely, absolutely. So SRE is one of the task is this, to automate the deployment process, to automate the infrastructure automation. You have got thousand servers. People cannot. I'm giving you one of the examples, one of the tasks of an SRE engineer. That SRE engineers are responsible for the cost. That's one task. Cost optimization is one task. Second task is to provision the servers in the production, right number of servers in production in an automated fashion. So that's again one role. So there are two different roles, two different skill sets, two different activities we just talked about, right? And similarly, we have so many other stuff as an SRE engineer that we need to do. We need to troubleshoot the application. If you have performance issues, response time is high, what would you do? You need to troubleshoot it. Where is the bottleneck? Right? That's the third task. Right? Fourth task would be obviously any other automation that we need to do. You need to know technologies. You need to know Kubernetes. You need to know Docker. You need to know Git, how that works. You need to know Jenkins. You need to know performance. These are the automation tools. Jenkins, how do we do Jenkins to create jobs pipeline job? So there are so many activities, so many automation that an SR engineer is supposed to take up, right? So that's what we'll understand this in the course. What all different course we have, and why we have those many topics in the course. We'll understand that. Okay. So what I'll do before I open up for the questions, let me show you the course content. Okay. and how we are plan this course, and then you can take a you can understand it better. Okay, so I'm going to directly go to the course guys. Uh, is my screen visible? Do you see the link opening up? Isari?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So this is the course. Okay. So if you look at this course broadly, look into this course, the way we have segregated this code is that we have the cloud. Okay. As we rightly mentioned, the first thing is cloud because everything is working in the cloud now. It's all about the cloud now. That's what we are working. It's not about the on-prem. Either we are using any cloud, we are using mostly AWS, or we are using Azure, if not AWS, Azure, of it's not GCP, right? But mostly Azure, mostly AWS, right? If you look at the market share, we have 40% of the market share for AWS. We have for the Azure, we have 20% of the market share, and we have 10% of the market share. So obviously, we are looking into AWS now as part of this course. So that's the first that we are learning. If you are new to AWS and everything from scratch, okay, that's what I don't assume that you have any background knowledge of AWS because I know we are in the transition phase. So that's the first topic that we are covering here. And if you look at this, a lot of details, a lot of topics that we have mentioned here about the AWS. Okay, no. Second part we have is the Linux because it's all about the Linux because mostly we are deploying the application on the Linux, right? If you know that, if you can understand, so do you know like basics of Linux? If I ask you, can you open a file and search for a text, like simple operation, or can you replace? You know that you can do this stuff in Windows. You know you can open a file, do a Control F, and search for a text. But can you do the same stuff in Linux? Can you replace a word in a file, right? Can you zip a file? Can you group? Can you zip folders? Like how do we do WinZip? Can you do the same stuff? Are you comfortable navigating in Linux? Like how we are navigating comfortably in Windows? So my tagline is this: get as comfortable with Linux as you are with Windows. It's all about the same, doing the same operation with the same ease. So we are talking about this Linux as part of the course. So this is going to be the second part. Second thing we are taking up this in the course is the Linux. Third thing, in the course, we look at we're talking about the SRE concepts. Do we understand the meaning of high availability? First of all, do we understand what do we mean by SRE, right? What is the roles and responsibility of an SRE, right? What do we mean by high availability? What do we mean by fault tolerance? What do we mean by reliability, right? What do we mean by scaling, horizontal or vertical scaling? Do we understand this word SLA, SLO, SLIs, error budget? So we need to be aware if you're looking going via this path, this we need to be very much comfortable with this. So like getting to know about the SRE, right? SRE terminologies and the concepts, right? So I use this word concepts and terminologies. We need to be very much comfortable with this. Unless we don't understand these words, we would not be able to get that, right? That we'll not be able to have this understanding, right? So that's part, right? Then we need to understand what is monolithic, what is microservices. Do we really understand microservices? I just spoke about monolithic and microservices. Do we really understand microservices? So we'll talk about the architecture here. What is monolithic? What is microservices? That advantages, disadvantages, right? So software architecture. So about the microservices, right? We need to understand. And then where should we deploy these microservices? So we'll talk about containers. In the containers, we'll talk about cloud. We'll talk about Docker. But that's where Docker is the container engine, right? And now when we have a lot of containers, now tell me one thing. I'm going to ask this question. Would you like a feature which will auto scale in the production based on the as per the load, which can auto scale as per the load? Would you like a feature like this? Yes, no?
Obviously,
Yes.
Absolutely. Now, would you like a feature which will recreate a container or a service if a container dies or gets killed in the process? Let's say out of memory happened and the process got killed. Would you like a feature which will recreate the container again automatically? Yes? No? Let's say one pod is there.
Yes, yes.
I'm gonna like obviously. So everybody yes, right? So we get this feature with Kubernetes. Okay. So we learn about Kubernetes. That's the most important topic. If you ask me in this entire course, everything is important, but Kubernetes is going to be the standard, my dear friends. Standard in any architecture, you're gonna have Kubernetes deployed. When Docker Inc. is the company name. I'll give you the brief history about it. Docker Inc. is the company name. They introduced Docker in 2015, and they introduced the world that they have this concept called containers. We can create multiple containers on the same VM. Google was listening to it. Okay. Then Google let this announcement happen, and they introduced that they have something called Kubernetes, and they're using this from past a decade. Past a decade means 2005 onwards only they were using, but they did not tell this to world. In 2015, when Docker introduced that they have this container concept, they told the world, Google told the world, they are using this technology from 2005 itself. And now, guys, I'm going to ask you this question: do you know any company or any any company name or anything, any website who handles load better than Google, who handles volumes of traffic better than Google? I
Amazon.
hope Google is in the top, right? And the region is
Amazon.
Kubernetes. Like Google more than Amazon, it cannot be right. Google is okay. You do Google more or you do Amazon more? I'm gonna ask this question.
No, I'm talking about the load.
Load, right? Yes. So
Not the
load. So people, I would say most of the people would do Google more, right, on a daily basis. I'm not saying Amazon is a less traffic, but even Amazon uses Kubernetes. So, so it's all about I am focusing on the Kubernetes. So this Kubernetes concept is what giving us all those features: auto scaling, auto healing, auto deployment, right? And it's gonna be the standard. I hope you would have, if you attended the interview or attending the interview, you would have got a lot of questions on Kubernetes. I hope some of you would agree with me. Those who have taken up the interview recently or working in towards microservices world, would you guys agree with me here? Nobody is working on microservices world. Okay, so soon you will be know that Kubernetes is going to be the standard platform. Trust me, and it's gonna be a skill set in few years, like a spreadsheet. Anybody working in IT should know the spreadsheet, right? How to work with Excel sheet. It's going to be the standard platform. Everybody should know this now because it's gonna be the standard. Everybody's adopting microservices. Every company is adopting Kubernetes, and that's how it's gonna be the future. I work in a company where everything is on Kubernetes, everything is on the everything is microservices. So I have been working in such a company, and that's how the recent I showed you the graph, right? I showed you the slide, right? So DevOps, microservices, containers, cloud. So we are taking care of AWS cloud. We're taking care of microservices. We're talking about the containers, and this contain the containers all Kubernetes comes. And we have this DevOps. If you look at this, come down below. So we have the Docker and we have this DevOps. Kubernetes, a lot more things in Kubernetes, and we have this in DevOps. Performance engineering and DevOps. We will understand about DevOps. Okay, so that's going to be the seventh topic. And it's not the end here. Okay, we are going to talk about resilience. in AWS. Okay, gaining resilience and reliability on AWS. How do we scale in AWS? How do we apply these concepts of SRE, of high reliability in AWS? Right. So we'll talk about that. So AWS plus SRE. It's going to be like this. 10th topic. We'll talk about observability. That's most important part for anybody doing operations work, anybody working in production system, because it's see, SR is all about production, guys. So you need to come out of your performance testing mindset where you are working on non-production environment. You need to feel the heat in of production, because in production customers sits on the top of your head, right? You work on some very tight line schedule, and that's how you will be valued. If you perform well, you will be valued, right? If you work in non-production environment, you would not be that much valued, right? That's how you're trying to look into the SRE path. When you look into the SRE path, it's all about the production, because you're going to work in production system. Every step you do, it matters. So for that, for what's happening, you need to know monitor the system. So we'll talk about Linux monitoring, we'll talk about CloudWatch, we'll talk about Prometheus, Grafana, we'll talk about ELK. So we'll talk about these four stuffs. So observability using ELK, using Prometheus, using Linux, using AWS CloudWatch. We'll talk about this. Now, Roshan, where is automation here? I'm coming next. Automation is here, my dear friends. So eliminating toil and automation. So we'll talk about Terraform, infrastructure automation, configuration management using Ansible, CI/CD pipeline using Jenkins, and automating mundane tasks using shell scripting and Python scripting. That's about the automation part. That's about the automation part. So giving you a 360 view of everything. So Terraform, Ansible, shell scripting. In a way, you start thinking, right? Python scripting. And it's not all. We are giving, on top of it, we are giving Python recorded sessions, self-paced Python recorded sessions, and Java self-paced recorded session. Python and Java both. So Java recorded session and the Python recorded session. Java programming, if you are interested, you have everything that you need. Python programming. And the most important, some of you are thinking, what for the performance engineering? So you know performance testing, but how about the performance engineering? So your answer is here, guys. We have given this. It's gonna be self-paced, my own 8 hours of recording, because we cannot see. This course is mostly, I would say, 150 hours total, 150 hours. In that 40 hours going to be live sessions and rest going to be recorded sessions. Okay, so this performance engineering, you can ask me any question. Okay, you will be given the recorded sessions, and you can ask me any doubt you have, but we're going to give this performance engineering recorded session as well. Java, it's a Java based, so we are not covering any other programming language. Java performance engineering. How do you take heap dump, thread dump? Because it's a Java. Because most of the applications that you will be, most of the questions, the interview questions in performance engineering are going to be Java based. So we'll talk about how do we take heap dump, how do we analyze the heap dump, how do we take thread dump, how do we analyze the thread dump, how do we understand what is wrong, right? So, and then that's how we'll talk about it. So these 14 things that we have, right, we are covering in this course, and everything is, it's a journey, guys. I'm telling you, it's a journey. SRE is a journey. That's how we need to understand this. It's a journey. It's a journey. It's not a race. So it's gonna take some time. because you are gonna achieve something great in your career, and it's gonna be continuous journey. It's gonna be continuous learning and continuous journey. I'm still learning, so as and when I keep on updating these things, recorded sessions or live sessions, right? So that's about the course, guys. Okay, and everything's from scratch. Okay, I don't assume that you know anything. Everything's from this. This is the USP of this course. But I don't assume, as a trainer, I don't assume that you know anything. Some simple IT background is enough. So that's what this particular course about talks about, guys. Right? You have the link with you. Go over the link. Spend time. Here's the link, guys. Uh, Go over the link, and you can ask me any question if you have.
Yes, sir. Can I talk?
Yeah, absolutely, Naga. Go ahead.
Yeah. Actually, I'm good in Linux. Currently working as a APM tool administrator, like one of
Okay.
customized tool, heal tool. Uh, Currently, I'm configuring in PNB Bank regarding that
Okay.
deployment configuration. So, is it applicable for me?
Absolutely right. See, if you are into a customized tool, you are into good in Linux. So
Yes.
uh, you have not many other things to explore. You will be learning AWS. You will be learning microservices. You will be learning Docker, Kubernetes. I'm not sure if you're using in the PNB right now, but I don't know what is the architecture looks like, but it's gonna be required, right, in your future, in your career.
Yeah. Here,
Uh,
here we are using microservices and Docker.
how about Kubernetes?
Yeah, Kubernetes now my dev team is developing to deploy that clients.
We need to be in the Kubernetes. See, Docker and Kubernetes. So mostly PNB Bank, I'm assuming they were in the monolithic applications. They have started microservices, developing microservices, and that's why you started to explore on the Docker Kubernetes. But yeah, I would say as long as you're in learning, it's good, right? But I always encourage people to join an organization where they are using Kubernetes, where they're using cloud. Okay, they're using Terraform. They're using talking about automation, right? That's where the industry is, and that's where you will get, even from a monetary perspective, right? As an
Yeah,
SRE engineer, I can tell you your salary for a 12, 13 guys can be 50 or 60 lakhs per annum as an SRE engineer. Okay, so that's how you'll be valued. If you know all those things, that's how you'll be valued, right? So it depends. So you have a lot of things to hear to learn. Okay, I see it like that.
yeah, yeah. Thank you, thank you.
Sure. Anybody else? Any question?
Okay, now here Thiru.
Uh,
So,
Yes,
all,
go ahead.
all these sessions going to taken by you, or it's
No, no, no. It's all by me. It's all by me. So
okay?
the I'm the leading this course. I have designed
Mm,
this course.
okay,
So this is gonna be self-paced. Okay, let me highlight this. Okay, one of it's and it's mentioned in the website itself. It's my recorded session. I have recorded it just to save time, because if I continue giving everything right, it's gonna take 4 months. Which, like, right now the course take 2 months to complete.
okay,
Right, over the weekends we are gonna meet. So it's gonna be a self-paced. Everything, whatever I'm not highlighting, is gonna be a live sessions. Everything is live sessions here. This is gonna be self-paced
okay. So this is
programming part.
for knowledge-based course, right? It's not going to get any certification, correct?
Which one? Can you come again?
This is for knowledge-based course, not going to given any certificate, which is not welcome, correct?
Yeah, it's gonna be live sessions. Everything here. Yes.
Oh, okay. So
Whatever I'm
after
mentioning,
completing,
self-paced, self-paced.
Would you refer or getting arrange job for this or
Can you come again?
from your side?
I'm not able to understand you.
No,
Can you
no.
be
After
louder and
completing this course, after
yeah?
completing course, would it possible to guide or arrange reference for the SRE job role or how? It's
Yeah, see, definitely. See, you would be job ready, and now you need to
oh,
apply and go for the interview, right? That's how I
mhm.
see this. So it's
Okay,
not like we're gonna arrange interview for you. It's not like that. So
okay,
you would be job ready. You would have knowledge. Knowledge is what we are sharing here. We are helping you improve on the knowledge basis, and then you need to go
okay,
out in the market and search, right?
okay, okay. Thanks, Nana. Thanks for your explanation.
So,
Thanks for
and
your
this is
time.
gonna be mine. So this is gonna be
Sorry.
Rawson. Yeah, this is gonna be mine recorded sessions. Okay,
Oh, okay, okay.
and these two is not mine. Okay, so
Mm-hmm. Okay,
these two would be by somebody else, but they are good ones from ISA only. Recorded
okay,
session,
okay.
but with ISA training. So we have collaboration with ISA here. So
Mm-hmm.
they are giving as part of this course. They are giving
Mm-hmm.
this kind of recorded sessions for you to learn. But only these two are from some ISA trainer. But apart from this, everything is mine here. I am taking care of
Okay.
every other thing.
So the validity of these recording sections will be lifetime, or is it for the 1 year or
Yeah, yeah, lifetime,
particular?
lifetime, lifetime. Yes,
Okay.
lifetime. I'll show you. Okay, one of the how the recording system. Let me show you the completed batch. Okay, let me show you some completed batch. So I should have that handy. Let me complete. So let me show you. Okay. So give me a minute. I'm gonna check that in my webs. Okay. I'm gonna show you how this looks. Okay. Let me send. Say open my email. I'll show you how this will looks. Okay. I'm gonna show you. I get a like you will get a playlist like this. Okay. I'll show you. So you're gonna get a playlist like this. When you enroll, you wanna get a playlist like this. Like this. And you'll be shared. You'll be all the recordings will be shared on daily basis. So this is one of the batches, November batches. So that's how it's gonna be. So this was the weekdays batch. So we take for 1 hour, but ours gonna be longer batch. It's gonna be 2 hours around. But you'll be said like this how and the recording will be given like this. And you will also have access to so this is about the recording, okay? And you will have a lot of recordings like this. You will have a recording for the Python, you will have recording for the Linux shell scripting. Okay, so Linux shell scripting you will have recording. So Linux, and then you will have Java performance engineering recording. You will have got a lot of recordings like this. So let's say Java. So you're gonna have for the Java performance engineering, you will have recording like this. So this is all mine session. So yeah, so that's how you'll be sharing, and we'll be also you'll be also getting the all the materials okay, like doc like PPTs. Okay, so like this, I'll be sharing all the PPTs for you. So let's say one of the batches I'm showing you. Let's say like this. So you will be getting all the PPTs that we'll be talking about in the course. Very useful PPT. Let's say I'll open the first PPT. So this is on the cloud part. So this cloud PPT is having around 150 slides. So everything will talk about the cloud, and you will get a lot of good my own so you put handy, so you put a lot of materials, so you look at a play like all the materials will be saved like this along with the recorded sessions which will have the lifetime validity, and these documents all the lifetime validity, and we are seeing a lot of useful material. If you look at the, yeah, let me show you one of the recent ones. Okay, you look at the recent ones. So in the SRE where we are introduced, we're talking about a lot of things: eliminating toil, performance engineering, databases. We'll talk about monitoring part. We'll talk about Docker ELK. We'll talk about Prometheus, Grafana. We talk about so many things, right? Performance engineering. We'll have slides here and a lot of materials on the performance engineering. So about the heap dump, garbage collection, a lot of useful materials. So you will be sharing all of those things. Right, I hope you got the understanding, guys, everybody.
Yeah,
Got the
one more
points.
doubt I have, sir.
Go
Uh,
ahead, go ahead.
so we'll get AWS access also?
So everybody, everything is hands-on. Okay. AWS offers a free tier account. So everybody, we all will be creating AWS free tier account and we'll be all learning there. Every AWS offers free tier account. So it's not like I will be giving you access. You need to create access. Go to AWS Amazon.com and create an account, and we will be all practicing. So if you look at into my account, this is how we go. So I have an account. I will demonstrating everything here, and you will be practicing along with me. Not during the session, after the session, you will be practicing along with me. Whatever we have discussed on a particular day, so this is my AWS account. So whatever we have practiced for a particular day, you will be practicing the same thing. So we have got lot many things services. So we'll talk about lot. We're gonna cover around 20 to 25, 30 services. 30 services we're gonna cover. That's how it's gonna be in AWS. Understood?
Yeah, yeah, got it,
That's
sir.
why, yeah, that's AWS we are covering. So we are not covering Azure and GCP. We're covering AWS here. Anybody else? Any question? Yeah. Thank you, Naga.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Are we good, guys? Anybody else? Uh, Rohit, you want to come to your question or you got the answer? Okay. Guys, if you are done with the questions, so we are good. So let's continue meeting. We'll meet now next Saturday. The next session will be happen on next Saturday. Let's meet and we'll start with our course. Okay. Uh, and then it's all
Yes,
the
sir,
learning
same
process.
timing only, na? 7:30 to
Same time.
8:30.
Same.
Okay.
Same. Yeah. But our regular assembly from 7:30 to 9:30. That's the
So if we,
demo we're talking about 1 hour, but our regular session will be happen 2 hours. One and a half,
that is
one and a
weekend
half.
only, right?
Come again?
That is weekend only, right? 7:30 to 8,
Weekend only.
9:30. Yeah.
Weekend only. Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely right. Okay. I hope you guys could understand the course, right? Now, right, guys. I think we are all good, right? Okay. So thank you guys for your wonderful being wonderful audience. and I hope we'll be all learning together in this journey.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you, guys.